In regards to public comment, same rules as under finance. So do we have any public comment? Nope. Okay. Moving on. Obsolete items for review. Mr. Gilbert. You got the glasses.
All right, so we have items at Selger Elementary School. We have some projector bulbs and some library reading logs there. At North, we have some TVs to TV to recycle. At South Middle School, computer parts to scrap. They're in pretty bad shape and not used anymore. A lot of damage on them. Central Middle School, they are really starting to clean out over there. Some various gym equipment that's no longer being used that needs to be scrapped, and other various equipment that they have. They've kind of been accumulating things, and their new principal's cleaning things out. So they're scrapping that other type of equipment. Transportation department, we have a number of booster seats, star seats, and so forth that are outdated and can no longer be used for our kids, so they're going to be scrapped. And then technology has some HP flat panel monitors that are going to go to public surplus, some Dell flat screen monitors to public surplus, and then the list of recycling for technology department. Hopefully this. And at Dibler, we have the library reading log for public.
Okay. Any comments or questions from board members? Or everybody okay with moving forward? Okay. Capital projects timeline.
Yeah, so we'll let Kelly walk you through this. We wanted to remind you of this timeline since the board did vote last, in the fall to approve the capital projects to go out to bid. So Kelly's going to give you an update of where Dewey's at, the work they've done to get us to this point, and what's going to happen from here on out, so that you all have an understanding of where we're going.
Okay, so we have our mandatory bid advertisements based on the cost for go out to bid. It's advertised the 3 weeks in January, and February we have mandatory pre-bid conferences scheduled for the different projects. That way we can have all the vendors, apparent vendors that are going to bid on it, come in, clarify any questions that they have, and we can make sure they're bidding appropriately and getting apples for apples. So we have the various projects scheduled back to back. The bid deadline and openings February 19th at 2 p.m. We'll accept the bids here and have them opened, and then we'll bring them to the March Facilities Committee for review, and then the recommendation the following week at the school board meeting. The intent to award them, should the board approve them, would be March 26th. And the work would begin first day after school, tentatively, assuming there are no snow days that push us beyond that date. And the expected completion date of all these projects is August 23rd. That'll give teachers a week, maybe even 2 weeks to set up their classrooms, get in. There are a lot of the projects, and if you want to go through the individual projects, we can, but there's a lot of paving and repairs. There's the air conditioning projects that we talked about in previous meetings for the large areas, the cafeterias and gyms. They'll all come back for your review. And if there's interest, we could have Dewey come in our next facilities committee to give you an update of where they're at with pricing, and just to give you a review what to expect as those bids are coming in for the following meeting in March. So if you do want to have them come in February to give you, here's what they're thinking, here's their updated numbers, and any questions that you might have, we'll have them come in on that meeting next time then. Any questions about dates or projects?
Sure, where are you gonna advertise?
So we're in 2 newspapers. Jackie actually did those 2 advertisements. Is it Intelligencer? And what was the second?
Morning Call.
So they're required to be local newspaper advertisements, and again, they're in
Intelligence.
next week.
Intelligence.
So being the new guy on the block, help me out with this a little bit, with how this really works. So you're advertising the bid. Do the prospective contractors go somewhere to get the bid specs, or how do they get the bid specs?
Part of the advertisement tells them where to get the bid specs, and
Okay.
for all but one of these projects, that's Dewey, so it tells them exactly whether it's the website, an address, a phone number, a contact, and there's a nominal fee to get the specifications, because they can be quite large. So they'll pay that, they'll get the specifications. If there's any questions or addendums, that gets sent out to all the people that registered, paid,
Okay.
and it'll go out, that process, so everyone's on the same page.
Perfect. And the pre-bid conference is where?
That's in my office.
Okay.
1303 in the district.
Perfect.
All of them?
Yes.
All of them. And board members are welcome, if they would like to attend any of those pre-bid conferences, you're more than welcome.
Very patient.
Okay.
I've never gone to one.
Pick which one, or you wanna go to all, and spend the day there?
February
That's
8th.
I mean, you are next to Dunkin' Donuts, I'm just saying, it's not a necessity.
That's a Friday, right? February 8th, I believe.
February
6,
8th.
7, 8. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
And they can submit bids anytime between February 8th and February 19th?
Correct. They are due on February 19th up to 2 p.m.
And that's when we'll open bids, and again, that's, board members are welcome to come to that if you would like to experience that. But not required. None of this is required for you to be at, we just want you to know that
I don't like
when it's happening, and if you, what's that?
I don't like opening the mail at home.
I was just wondering, so you have district-wide elementary school air conditioning installation projects. You had mentioned that no one is big enough to, or did you say everyone is big enough to, do you expect, do you expect someone to bid on all of those at once? To do the whole thing, or are you splitting it up, or are you doing it in different ways?
That's going to be up to Dewey, however they think best. I think it's going to be broken up into 2 different projects, honestly. If there's one contractor that can do it, fine, but it's going to be, I think we're going to do it 2 ways. If the contractor wants to bid on all projects, that's one option, and then they could break it up into different projects at that point. And again, we'll provide a summary for the facilities committee to review and recommend at that point. What do you think, since our best interest moving forward?
So they'll give us what the options are that they're planning on giving to the group to bid on, is that what you're saying? For
Right,
the
so-
pre-bid meeting?
So of the various, right, we'll bring you the summary and a recommendation we think is the best, and we can talk about it then, but
You mean the bid results?
the bid results, yes.
I think
I-
I should talk about prior to that, and how are the bidders gonna be instructed on how to bid on these projects, is what she's asking.
I would need to see the exact specs that haven't been fully developed yet. It hasn't gone out to bid. I don't know if they have it broken down, if it's building by building, or if it's
Grouping.
north, south, however they're gonna do those groupings. I'm not sure how that's broken down yet, but
So when that's all broken down, would you be able to send that to us, so
Oh,
we have all that
if
information?
you want those bid specs, we could provide that.
I don't mean like the whole specs, I mean like, well, we're
Just that
combining,
breakdown?
we're doing one option where you can bid on all of them at once, we're doing an option where it's broken up by these buildings, and, you know, the basis behind those, you know, why we're doing
What
it those
decision,
ways, right?
No, we can do that.
I don't want the whole bid specs like last year, although it was interesting. Do you have like an overview of each project you could give us? Or Dewey could provide us?
I'm sure we can
Like,
get you something, right. I'm
This
sure
is
you
this,
don't want a
at
binder
Guth
page by
Elementary, we're
page.
doing this part of paving and this part of paving. I mean, you're not obviously paving.
I actually have a summary sheet that's a little bit bigger than this, but
I have that.
by the year, that's a,
I mean, like,
I
you
love
don't
it.
have any other like detailed, like,
More detailed
okay,
discussion.
at Bedminster, this is more or less what we're doing.
I can get that for you.
Okay,
Right, because some of these projects have changed slightly, especially paving. The original paving evaluation was a few years ago, and things have deteriorated a little bit more than was expected. So some things that were just a crack sealing may now be partial mill and overlay. So prices are gonna change a little bit, but we're trying to contain it within the budget numbers that were originally projected by altering things slightly throughout the entire phase of the projects. We're trying to stay on budget, but things have changed a little bit. And that maybe one school's a little bit more expensive than expected, maybe one's a little cheaper, but that's We'll bring that to you next, meeting to give you some clarity on that.
And
But
then,
a summary, yes. Get
okay,
a summary for the projects.
okay, that would be good. And then, just out of curiosity, I won't be able to come to your bid meeting on the 8th, although I wanted to. Do they get any type of information or paperwork at those meetings about the projects, or?
So that would be review of all the specs, so they're gonna get those big binders and all the drawings, all the
Mhm.
contractors that come to participate. And that's their opportunity to say, I don't understand this, or this doesn't make sense, so that we can give them better clarity, so they all bid on the exact same
Okay,
thing.
okay.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I only have one question regarding the contracts, and again, being new to this, I don't know if I'm asking something that is an obvious answer. We're looking to have work completed by August 20th.
That's-
23rd,
That's the
right?
absolute
Right.
latest deadline. I think we're actually a week before that, the 17th,
So-
for most of these projects.
So as part of the bid package, is there late performance-based penalties?
Yeah, so they're
Okay.
typically, I don't know what that value is, but it's a daily penalty if you're beyond the
Okay.
completion date, as long as it's not an owner delay.
Okay.
If we didn't cause a
Right.
delay on the
Okay,
part,
and on the opposite side of that, are there performance incentives? Okay.
not that I'm
Okay.
aware of.
We'll pay you.
That's a good incentive.
Get it done, we'll pay you. Okay, no, thank you.
My other question is, and it was not originally on this, is the various food service equipment projects. Can you tell us what and why?
So-
Because that one's new, so we hadn't talked about that one yet.
Separate budget, and maybe Sean wants to
Yeah.
address that, that's food
Yes,
services budget.
there's one thing we're doing this summer, which is a walk-in freezer at Dockler. And that's not part of the general fund, that's part of the food service department.
Okay.
And, but what we do is we will take the projects we need to do in the food service department, and we will support them through Dewey and this process, so that those projects get the same support and the same professional view and the same, look that, that the projects that are being paid for by the general fund do.
So you're looking for like an HVAC or
No, this one is a walk-in freezer.
It's a freezer.
yeah.
Mechanical, is that what you're thinking?
No. Never mind, yeah, okay, so you're looking for bids for somebody to install a freezer, a new walk-in freezer. I just wasn't sure what that one was, cause it was never on any of this stuff that we talked about, and it doesn't come out of the capital
Correct.
funds budget?
Correct. We
It
use
comes out
the-
of the food service
Yep,
budget.
We use the food service funds for that.
And I know all these have like estimated values to them. Do you have an estimated amount for that project? And is it in the budget for food service?
Yes, it will be in next year's budget for food service. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, she did share that with me, what the estimate is for that. But we can get.
You did that back,
Yeah.
yeah.
Refrigeration guy, that's what I was You're looking for somebody for refrigeration to come into that. Okay. That was the only one that I had a question on, because we hadn't seen it before.
So I can tell my contacts about this, right? Like, from my subcontractors that work for my, like, they could do a bid,
Absolutely,
okay,
yeah, anyone can be.
awesome.
Oh, we'll be the one involved.
Yeah, just,
Well-
right, just, because that'll tell them where to go get the information.
That's what
Yeah.
yeah, I just put it on the calendar, it's nothing, like,
Do you advertise on, online at all, like, is it on our website? It is on our website?
Usually, yeah.
And then I know you can sign up for bid alerts, like via email, like local contractors get bid alerts in their email, I do. I didn't know if it was, yeah, I didn't know if we, what website do you send
They
them to
contact
send them
us.
out?
There's contractor, or bid companies, they contact us.
Oh,
And then I
okay.
send them usually information.
And then they pick it up on
Okay.
theirs, yeah, so they look for the advertisements and then they kind of
Email
piggyback
them.
on that, and then they do their own thing, but unfortunately, we're required to have, school districts, the law is so archaic, we are required to advertise in two public newspapers, where we could put it on our, but website and do the thing like you're talking about and blast it out to contractors for next to nothing. So if
Oh,
we
yeah.
spend thousands of dollars in advertising,
They're
because
so
that's what the school
expensive to
code,
advertise in the
yeah,
newspaper.
that's what school code says we have to do. It's the rules from 1949.
It's a little outdated.
So
It's
someone
a lot
should,
bigger.
so someone should reach out to PDE, is that what you're saying?
Well, it has to be changed by,
Legislators.
the
Oh,
legislators.
legislators?
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, so write your legislators.
Okay, any other questions about the capital projects timeline? All right, moving on to the results of the water test. So everybody says.
So pleased to announce after your approval to move forward with that, that every source that was tested is within the 15 parts per billion. It's under that. The results are published in board docs. There are some numbers that aren't zero, so if you see ND, that's non-detect or zero. Everything else is within the parameters that we're allowed to be within. Some of them, maybe one that's at a 9, we'll look at those faucets and things and potentially replace them to try to reduce, but our goal obviously would be 0. But the reason that we're at 15 parts per billion by the state is that's what they've set a value on. It's reasonable to expect people to do things to reduce your contaminants within your building to that number. So everything's good, and we'll work on trying to lower the numbers that we do have, but we're in compliance right now.
Excellent. Yeah, I saw that, it looks like you have two stations, one at Grass and one, the nurse at Grass.
Yeah.
Which was kind of
And
odd.
then,
Yeah.
the nurse, and then the
And-
nurse at Bedman.
And the water fountain at, in the cafe at Sellersville.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know. we can-
And then kitchen prep and Siler is getting up there too.
That's,
And so one of my first steps for that is it'll likely be a summer project, or maybe we'll do it in
Yeah.
between. We'll replace the faucet,
Yeah.
and then we'll end up doing a test for those to see if that was the culprit, or is it the valves
Is it
under the
further
sink,
back?
or what it
Okay.
might be beyond that. But as of right now, we're in compliance, but we'll try to get better.
And then is it possible, you know, should we is there a way to share this information with specific buildings and maybe, you know, if they can guide people to the ones that have even lower number, you know what I mean? Like,
Don't use this one, no, I don't want to think so.
I mean,
Well, I just say, but it's safe to use.
I mean, like the nurses office in Grass,
It's
like
safe.
letting them know, you know, maybe if they have a choice, and you know, if they have a choice, maybe use this other one instead. I don't know.
That's a tough one, so
But with them safe.
for compliance, we
I
either
get it,
have
but you're
to-
talking about an elementary nurse's office. And,
Yeah, but it's,
I mean, I guess people are or how often are people drinking the water at
Well,
I
the
think it's
nurse's
to
office?
administer medicine.
right.
So,
And I'm sure that if they're in an office, is there a water cooler? You could,
So that's what I'm saying. So
Say,
maybe
hey.
just looking at what's a different option that maybe isn't the 9.76. I mean, it's you know.
When I read this.
so another thing to consider is what do you wanna do with this information? So our 2 choices were don't test and talk about lead, water issues in schools at public meetings, or do the testing, and if you have anything over 15 parts per billion, notify PDE and take corrective actions. We're in compliance
Yes.
testing and you knowing what the results are. If you wanna make it public, you're gonna have people ask the same kind of questions. Well, we want 9, is that okay? It's a decision for you to make, how you wanna address it.
Well, I think there's ones that are up there that you're talking about switching out the faucets and seeing if that makes a difference. I think.
But we should be able to make a generalized statement.
We're in
I think we should, I
compliance.
That
think
we
we
are,
should post
we've
it
had,
on our website.
we've had
Yeah.
all the buildings tested and we're in compliance with the regulations.
And I think there should be a link to the results. People deserve to know.
That's how you wanna proceed with this.
Well,
It's
I
okay.
agree, and I think I agree with Mrs. Dolan, and I think that there's no harm in letting people,
Cause we're in compliance.
we're in compliance, and even if we weren't, there's no harm in letting them know that we are making it compliant.
And that
But
we're gonna try and
15 parts per
remediate
billion.
to get lower.
Yeah,
Well,
and
is it-
15 parts per billion.
This is public,
we've got-
isn't this? Isn't this?
Yeah, this
This
is
is
well,
public
Those
right now.
meetings
Word
are
doc.
public meetings.
No,
Yeah.
but I mean the
The
results,
document.
the document is public right now. Word doc. So we already made it public, so it's public.
Hello, yes, just
Just
now,
make
because
sure
we're
We
transparent.
make everything public, so it's
Make sure you know
I just need it for them to
that
put a
you're
statement
going
on
to
the website
remediate.
or a
Yeah.
statement.
Yeah, like here we
Have a
are.
link to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So
let's-
yeah, link to this on
But
board.
can I just
Yeah.
point out that these high numbers are not water fountains, they're sinks.
Well, there is
Right.
one water
Where's
fountain
one water
Well,
fountain?
there's
in
one
the
water,
cafeteria at Sellersville, so I would say
So,
that one, in
that
my
one-
mind, would be the one really
your
to,
priority,
a
yeah.
high priority to find out.
Right.
what
But
it
your
is.
nurse, the two nurse sinks are sinks, so, you know,
Probably not drinking it.
I don't think they are, cause don't they usually
Most
give them
kids
a
are bringing
bottle
their,
of water?
most kids are bringing their own water bottles and.
So like even if they take a pill that's administered by the nurse, are they given tap water? I don't know, but
Maybe.
like how big is the little dispense, you know, so.
Yeah, it's like a little cup.
Yeah, I do think that if that, your priority is gonna be that one water.
We
I think
will work
that
on
people
those
obviously drink
elevated
from.
ones, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Right,
We got the staff to do it.
you good?
Yep,
nice work.
Okay, thank you.
and
Oh,
it actually
how-
came in under budget, it was originally 4,000,
Yeah.
but we came in at 3,300.
Way to be,
Hey.
Kelly.
Right.
You can
Like
stay.
under budget. Like under budget.
And did you learn how to do it? And like, I know we talked about doing it in-house. Do you think it's something that you would be able to do?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
It's not really complicated, it's just understanding the process. There's a whole getting the bottles from the laboratory, and Plymouth Meeting is the closest place that does the certified lead testing. There's a lot of labeling, chain of custody, those sort of things. Actually taking the samples, getting them right down to the lab. So we could do it, it's just gonna take some time to get it done. But yes, we could do it in-house.
I wasn't sure how you felt on that front.
Okay,
Nice.
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, the next facilities committee meeting is scheduled for February 12th. And we're back to public comment. Nothing tonight, Mrs. Fairlawn? All right.
Obsolete is obsolete.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you all for coming.
All right.
Have a great night.
All right.